Everything happens on a timing that you can't recognize for being perfect timing until it happens. It goes along with the same thing when people ask, how long is it going to take for me to be profitable? I don't know. It happens differently for everyone. But it's directly related to how you think and how you study. What expectations are you placing on yourself? The ones that have very, very reasonable expectations, they're the ones that do the best in terms of timeline, the learning curve, the amount of time. But the ones that have really astronomical results in mind, that they think that they have to do some Olympic feat, they're the ones that many times are having still never met a string of profitability yet, because they're trying to do something external than other than finding a model that repeats in tape reading, not demo trading. And then when they find it in tape reading, then forward test it with a demo for months and be bored with that. Don't rush to the point where, oh yeah, I've done it 6 times the last 2 days. I'm bored with this. It's time for me to start trading with real money. No, you're not ready. When you feel like you have done enough of demo trading with your model and it's consistent, you know what you're doing, you're not surprised by what price is doing, and then you don't care ultimately about the money, but you're going to go into trading a account that yields payout money, something you can trade with a funded account, or if you're putting real money into an account. When you are bored with the demo trading, but you're going to go into it no matter what anybody else would tell you, you're going to do it, but you're only going to trade with one contract and you're going to stick with that, and you actually do that, not trade with more. If your mindset is like that, that is usually where I would agree, but I don't ever tell anybody when to trade with real money. But that would be where we would agree at that time that it's probably some time at that moment or in the near future, you're probably going to want to transition to trading with real money. But you're going to know when that happens, because no one's going to tell you you're not going to. You've exhausted all the time and interest in doing it in demo only, and you're consistent with it. You're not impulsively pushing the button. You're not romancing the uncertainty. You're embracing that uncertainty. You have tools, you have protocols and things that you trust that deliver. And you believe that while they're not perfect and you're not going to be perfect, it yields a high degree of probability that is in your favor. So therefore, by repeating and following that same logic, it's reasonable to assume that as long as you don't put exorbitant risk on your trades, you could have a positive outcome. And over time, that positive outcome with one contract can be parlayed up into more contracts used, but the risk never increases percentage-wise. Settle in on 1.5% as a maximum risk. If you're really, really good, trade with half a point of 1% risk when you're first starting with real money. But you're going to say, but I can't make a lot of money doing that. You're a fucking liar. You're a liar. You can make lots of money with that. You can make lots of money with that. You don't understand compound interest. Compound interest is a factor that does all the heavy lifting. You can start with 1/10 of 1%. Just starting and being consistent over time, the compounding effects of increasing as you make more, it's exponential. It literally starts going vertical the longer you keep doing the consistent application of what it is that you found profitability in. It doesn't matter how much you start with. It doesn't matter how much you risk in the beginning. If it's small risk, that small risk does more heavier lifting 6 months down the road, 1 year down the road. And inside of 18 months, any of you that have a consistent application of a model that you've framed out, and you're sticking to those models, and you're now learning when to avoid the market's going to be problematic, that in itself is a game changer. That's a game changer. Knowing when you're not going to most likely blow your account or hurt yourself in drawdown. When's it going to be harder for you to trade? Knowing that and sitting outside of the market and having no issues with that. No one's going to influence you to get in it, and you're not going to feel bad that the market maybe have moved even though you were outside of it. You can sleep at night with that. That's someone that's going to make a lot of fucking money. That's someone that's going to make so much fucking money. It's going to be crazy. But that's a very hard skill set to adopt. It's hard. That's a hard lesson for a teacher to communicate to a student, because they all want to go, get me into a trade. And until they blow accounts, they're not ready to learn these lessons of knowing when to sit still. And as long as you feel impulsive and you don't want to learn lessons like that, you see no value in that, I guarantee you're not profitable. And I guarantee you will not be profitable until you fix that. That was my underlying issue. That was mine. I thought every day I was going to be able to make a lot of money. And I would be right about what I was doing, being a permabull, only buying, never shorting. And when the market says, no, I'm not going up, I'm trying to buy it. It's a 20-year-old, and it's saying, no way, I'm not going up there. And it would crash down lower. And I would think, okay, well, now it's at a level it really should go up from. And I was doing things wrong. In the beginning, in your early stages, your ignorance blinds you to the depths of your inabilities to see your own faults. It's impossible for us to recognize it. That's why you have to have a teacher. You have to have a mentor. You have to. Because left to your own devices, you're going to hurt yourself. And you don't realize doing things incorrectly for a long period of time, it creates extremely bad habits. And it'd be easy to assume that, oh, well, if someone tells you the right logic, it's easy to drop bad habits and just do the right thing and learn what the things that you're supposed to be doing. And I have mentorship groups that prove that that is not true. I mean, come on. It's a lot of things that you have to wrestle with. When you get accustomed to doing something, and for people that suffer from anxiety and depression, there are things that they're placing on themselves. When I was going through that, it was me that I put that on me. I chose to live with it every day until I learned skills that taught me how to put it down and leave it and walk away from it. I had myself in a prison cell with the door unlocked, the door open, and I said, I'm in jail, I can't get out of this. When I could have just simply walked out anytime I want. But I made my home in depression. I made my home in agoraphobia and anxiety, and just it defined who I was until I got tired of living like that. And I started looking at how I can empower myself. I focused on my strengths and I minimized my weaknesses. And I started doing things like self-talk, and I cheerleaded myself, and I brought myself out of mental illness to a position where lots of people around the world listen to me now. And they take a great deal of comfort knowing that I came from that, and I'm able to share a skill set with you live over market price that can yield you a change of lifestyle. And if I can accomplish that, you can. I'm giving you the recipe for it, and other people have used it, and look at their results. Don't look at mine, look at yours. Because if you put the work in, you're going to see the evidence. You'll see the testimony. You'll see the proof that you can do it. So if you can do it, anybody else can do it. And I'm trying my best to encourage my son to make the right decision. Because while let's just play devil's advocate, and I'm going to close the stream. Let's say my son goes out this week and he tries to do something. And say he does it and he tries to impress me and do more than I have asked him to do. And say he loses this funded account. Would I be disappointed? Yes. Would I ridicule him? No. But I would be in his ass saying, what does it feel like right now? How does it feel right now? Knowing what you feel, what you felt, what you were doing right before you entered the trade, why you were entering that trade, what was the catalyst, what was the outcome you were expecting? And is that in spec with what you were supposed to be doing? Because if you can't recognize that as a problem, as a root cause, you're gonna repeat this same thing. It's gonna happen again. It's going to happen again unless you recognize that that is a problem. That's an error. That's an error that you're making. That's something that you're placing in the mix. You're adding an extra ingredient that's not part of the recipe. And what you're including is bullshit. And bullshit never makes anything taste better. So you need to take yourself back to the recipe. So if he listens, okay, he should have, by Friday, he should have $1,000 in equity. The very minimum, he should have $500. If either one of those scenarios or anything between occurs, I am pleased and I'm proud. If he falls short of the $500 but makes a profit, I'm pleased, and I'm going to encourage him to stick to the model, because the model would yield what I just said. So we'll focus on what he didn't do to reach that. But I will still encourage the fact that he was able to find some kind of profitability. The interest in taking any money out is not there until $10,000. Unless he tells me he just wants a taste of it for real, if he wants to do a withdrawal or whatever. And it's his money, right? He can do whatever he wants to do. But I'm coaching him to aim for what he went into this for. He's using it as a stepping stone, or a pathway to not have me hand him $10,000 to put into a trading account. He wants to do it on his own steam. So if he carves out 10 grand with this, he's not going to be milking the Michael Patak's pockets. He's aiming for 10 grand. When he gets 10 grand, he's closing it. It's done. If they come to him in email or whatever, and they say, hey, look, let's put you in a funded account, he's not going to do it. He's not going to pay the fees, and that's not why he's there. All he's trying to do is parlay it up to 10 grand. 10 grand comes out and goes into a real brokerage account. And then he's going to trade that. And then he's going to work towards building up 2 years of living expenses, which is $100,000. And then $50,000 for his equity base. And then once he has that and he's consistent, I will tell him, you're at the right state right now when you feel equipped and ready to do so, because you're consistently doing your trades and you're finding them on your own. Dad's not influencing anything. If you want to quit your job, then by all means, you're ready to do it now. Are you willing to submit to something like that? Chances are no. There ain't no fucking way I'd wait 2 years. As soon as I start making money, I'm quitting my job. Shit, fuck this. I'm done. And you don't realize how hard you're making it. You're going to make it impossible, because now you have to trade, and not just have to trade, but you have to trade profitably. You have made it so much harder for you, and the performance anxiety that you don't realize is going to be a factor is going to be insurmountable. And that's why you need 2 years, because you can relax. You can take a month off of trading with 2 years of living expenses. If things start to get stressful, you start feeling that initial, oh my goodness, did I quit my job too soon? Because that's going to happen. That is absolutely going to happen. But you have 2 years of making your ends meet. It'll allow you to reground and recalibrate and focus on, oh yeah, I'm good. I don't need to make much money. I got 2 years behind me. I got plenty of money in my account. I don't take crazy risks. I don't take a what-if trade. I don't do the hope and pray model. I'm waiting for my setup. I'm avoiding the bad problematic times. So I know what I'm doing. I just got a little nervous there, and I'm reminding myself that I'm in a position where I don't have to do anything right now. And that's important as a trader. You got to be in a position mentally, physically, and financially where you don't have to take that next setup that you see is good. Are you willing to let that next good trade go? It's funny, when you lose money, it's easy for you to do that. When you start trading with real money, you're going to feel that. And I'm going to say it again because you probably went over your head. When you take a losing trade, or you're doing a losing streak, okay, 2 or 3 trades now, and you've been stopped out, that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. But what will happen is you're going to see a setup that is absolutely cherry. So perfect. A1 setup. Perfect textbook. This is the one you do maximum leverage in. And you're going to say, I'm afraid to take that trade. And it's going to yield perfectly. And you're going to be upset that you allowed that losing streak, or that last losing trade. It's going to distort your perspective, and you won't want to take that trade. because you're going to be fearful. What happens if I lose? Because you've already defined in your mind, this one's my model. I didn't trade on the other ones with my model, and I pushed it. I entered too soon. I tried to anticipate the setup and getting in before I should have, and I got hurt. And then when you see the actual model in your charts, you see it, the setup's there, the framing of the risk is modest to low, and the output and yield on the trade is 5-to-1 or higher. That's a textbook entry. That's a textbook setup, but you don't take it because you took a losing trade and there it is. You're gonna experience that. But when you start trading with real money and you don't have a job, you're gonna have that same feeling, but it's gonna be magnified way beyond what you felt just because you had a losing trade. Because now you're thinking, I have to make money. Eventually, if I sit around and do nothing for 2 years, I've depleted that money. That's not what the goal is. The goal is not to deplete that money. It's your insurance. It's your cushion. That is your fuck you money. That is your, when Carl says, hey, we're short on people, the boss said he'll come back with you with a 50% raise. Fuck you, Carl, and tell that boss to fuck himself too. That's what that is. That's fuck you money. That's you ain't got to get a job today money. That's you, I ain't got to do anything today money. And that includes trading at the top of the list. So when you see your setups, are you comfortable with letting those setups go when you're in a position where you have to make money? Think about that now. So you're all in a rush to skip through all the required necessities in learning all about yourself, the difficulties of navigating troubled markets, difficult markets. And you all want to make a lot of money right now because you want to quit your job and you're going to live off of that one big payout. Even a $100,000 payout isn't going to make you consistently profitable and able to quit your job. I promise you, do some work and look at these individuals that made these really big payouts. Some of them have been very honest, and I have a lot of respect for that. They come out and they said, look, I made a lot of money. I got some really big payouts. And then I don't know what's happening. I just can't make any money. I keep failing. I keep failing this. I keep failing that. So what are they feeling? I guarantee you they probably made the change and this is all they're going to do for money. And now they have performance anxiety. And that's perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal. That's the expectation that I would have, and anybody else that's been trading with real money for a long period of time. That's what we expect when we see people rushing into live trading with no job. That's the outcome that you expect. But you don't expect that when you're doing it. You expect that, well, fuck this, I ain't got to get a job. And I can just sit around and make shit. If I make $1,000 a day, I'm good. $1,000 a day keeps a job away, right? But funny things happen where all of a sudden you start thinking about, I have to be profitable. And now you've changed the whole dynamic. You have nothing in the bank as a nest egg. You have no fuck you money. You have just what's in your account. And now you must get a job or you must be perfect in your trading. You just now increase the level of difficulty in trading to ludicrous levels. You have made trading so much more difficult than it needs to be. And that battlefield that's in between your ears, inside your mind right now, your head's going to swirl. You're going to be anxious. You're going to lose sleep. Your health's going to deplete. You're not going to want to go to the gym. You're not going to want to exercise. If you're in a relationship, it's going to suffer. You're going to gain weight. You're going to lose weight. You're not going to be in the right state of mind. And you're going to be doing the same thing every day that does nothing that improves your financial position. In fact, it's going to be the opposite. What did you do wrong? You didn't fucking listen. You didn't prepare for success. You didn't build a nest egg. You didn't get 2 years of living expenses. You didn't have adequate funding for trading. And you rushed into wanting to quit your fucking job. Your job right now is necessary. It's a necessary evil. Manage Carl how you need to manage Carl. Don't get fired. Don't create more drama for yourself. Drama makes trading harder. Income-based trading is harder than speculative trading while you're making your bread with a job. It's easy to take that next trade when you have a job. Even though you hate the job, It's easy to take that next trade, even if it was a losing trade, because what are you thinking? If I blow out, all I got to do is pay for another reset. But you are not going to think that way when you're trading for a living and you don't have a nest egg of 2 years of living expenses and you're not properly funded. You're not going to think that at all. You're like, fuck. Man, I need to make some money, and you're going to take big risks. I'm going to do 15 accounts linked together, and I'm going to do 15 contracts, and I'm going to try to just get a big payout. I need to pad my pockets out. That's wrong too. That's stupid thinking. That's toxic thinking. That's financially illiterate. That's someone that has no idea what the fuck they're doing with money. And you're making it harder for yourself. So you absolutely have to defer that want for trading for a living. Do you think that you're not trading for a living when you're working your job and you're building up a nest egg of $100,000 or more? That's trading for a living. You're trading for a better living later. It's your perspective that's all fucked up. You were making money while you have the job. What are you in a rush to leave the job for? Ego, pomp, control of your own time. I get it. I get that. But use it as your sure footing right now. That's your meal ticket for making your ends meet, because that's what you have right now as a job. But build up You Incorporated until your corporation, you are doing so much more than just duplicating your salary or doubling it. Like, you need to be comfortable that you can far outpace what you have done as a yearly income on a consistent basis. Because if you can have output like that, when you are properly funded with 2 years of fuck you money, and you have a well properly funded account, and you have a skill set that you didn't rush that skill set into, it's going to be performance anxiety place over top, because you now need to make money, because your job is no longer your breadwinner. It's your trading profitably is your breadwinner. You now just increase the level of difficulty higher than it needs to be. But if your output, while you're not emotionally driven to trade, you're not trying to trade every single day, you can recognize when the market's likely to be more problematic. So you're going to be highly selective, and you know how to manage money, and you know how to parlay your money. That means let the heavy lifting of compound interest do it all. You're never increasing your risk. If you start with your parameter at, I'm never going to risk more than 0.5%. I'm never going to risk more than 1%. As your equity increases, you're going to control more contracts or lots if you're trading Forex. But the percentage basis of what you're taking on as a risk is never increasing percentage-wise. But because the new equity allows and affords you to be able to trade larger, you're still taking the same measured percentage risk. It's never increasing. But you need to subscribe to whatever that is initially and live there. When you start trading with your own money for a living, start with a low threshold. And I'm telling you, the better traders are going to be trading with less than 1%. But I can't get rich. Man, go fuck yourself in your ignorance. You have no idea what you're talking about. Math, rudimentary math escapes you if you think you can't get rich trading with 1.5%. It doesn't matter what you start with. The consistency model is it's important. And as you make more money, that compounding effect literally starts to send the market equity curve through the roof. And here's the thing. If you live below your means for 5 years in that condition, you allow yourself to build a huge net worth. If you're making lots of money and you're going out there and throwing it away in diminishing assets, which are really liabilities, buying cars, okay? Buying cars, buying toys, when that money could be put into interest-bearing vehicles, that's financial illiteracy too. If you're financially illiterate, you can make a lot of money and be broke real fast. And there's a few of them on social media right now that it's going to be a wonderful case study to see him right back in the poorhouse. and they can't even see it coming. But they're going to smile on the camera and say, "You can't take it with you." They can't take it with them. but they can't hold on to it either. New money rarely holds on to money. It just happens like that. And I'm teaching you as a student and as my son, Caleb, you see what I do with my money. I could afford a whole lot more stuff. I could be doing all kinds of stupid shit. But that's not what financially literate people do. I love the peace of mind knowing that I don't have to do a fucking thing ever, 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 ever. And I'm loaded. I have money making money for me, and I don't need to trade. Ever, ever, ever. I don't need to make mentorships and sell them. I don't need to make YouTube videos for ad revenue. I don't need to do shit. I'm set. You're not, but I'm telling you how to get there.